was so bad in the first half that we got an Emma Hayes special. We got an Emma Hayes tactical timeout. Alyssa Nayer's best performance of her career. She's going out on a high, and that includes executing the Emma Hayes special of a tactical timeout. Just sit on down, get some treatment, and let's regroup. As soon as we saw that happen, every single player ran over to the sideline to get some sort of instruction from Emma Hayes.
U.S., they barely get a 2-1 win over the Netherlands. In the first half, it was one-way traffic, Sandra. It was the Netherlands nonstop. There was a moment for the U.S. where they had an opportunity in the 5th minute, a good spell of attack. Frankly, they should have scored. Rose Lavelle put a shot right at the keeper, right at Van Dumselaar. It should have been a goal up for the U.S. then, but it was all Netherlands. Where was the biggest holes for the U.S. in the first 45?
It was so obvious from the jump how the Dutch were going to come out and tackle the United States. They immediately found space to expose along that left side. Jenna Neiswanger, I hope she has a great holiday because she's going to need some time off after this performance today and after this year. She struggled with some of the challenges that she was facing over the course of that opening 45 minutes. You add in this combination of the midfield just not up to speed. And in the preview, I said that's what I wanted to see in this next game. Is I did not want to see another game from this United States midfield where they got pushed around. And we saw another consecutive performance like that. Talk about not matching the energy. They did not. From the jump. It just looked, despite the Netherlands and the total football we were seeing with the 3-back at times, pushing the numbers, they struggled with that. Even with that, still somehow found themselves playing moments where they were kind of just direct, like just playing through the midfielder. So that's, I think, for me, where there was a lot of struggle. There was just no attempt to either win the ball, retain it, possess it. That all belonged in favor of the Netherlands. And it was a struggle from minute one, really through about a half hour. They just did not let up by any means. They had everything established and going for them in terms of, things tactically, formationally. I would even argue emotionally, mentally, and the momentum swing, all categories.
I mean, there's nothing else that the U.S. could have even had that you just listed off, Sandra. It was all the Netherlands, and they looked dominant. They had a game plan. They definitely watched film on the U.S. against England because England sat back in a mid to low block and the Netherlands did the absolute opposite. They said, we are going to attack the United States. We are going to put their back line under pressure immediately, force them to build out of the back. And then guess what? We are going to overload numbers centrally. They were building out with 3 in the back, 5 in the midfield. And those 5 in the midfield absolutely dominated against our 3 of Lindsey Horan, Corbin Albert, and Sam Coffey. There was no space for Horan, Albert, and Coffey to do anything. They looked like chickens running around with their heads cut off, Christine.
It's just mess. I for a minute, I was like, oh my God, are we just running back the 2023 game? Because like Roard was the sole goal scorer then, and she was absolutely hunting. And for God awful knows what reason, like, why wasn't anybody marking her? Were we just like waiting for it? Were they going to give it to her? Was there a bow they were going to slap on that ball? It was just a mess. And then I think adding to just the midfield woes and like, I want to see more Hal, I think is what I've decided based on this game, is Neiswanger, who's great, but like she's been the liability in the same way for Gotham at times. Yes, she likes to ride high. Yes, it catches them out. She just was not the right fit for this game playing against the Netherlands side.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. With the Netherlands and the pressure that they were putting on, they were controlling the tempo. And there were moments where I was like, US, wake up. You got to control parts of this game, no matter what it is. And this front 3 that Emma Hayes rolled out with Lavelle, Shaw, and Ryan, I wanted to see them together. And they never touched the ball, Sandra. They weren't involved.
One shot before that own goal, baby. One shot.
It's tough because you want to talk about like feeling some type of way about certain things. I'm really feeling for Jaden Shaw coming out of this camp because I don't think she was set up to succeed. by any means in any stretch in any of the games that she featured in, again, whether it was England or the Netherlands. With this game specifically, she never saw the ball, with reason, because of the struggle that was happening, within the middle third there. And you see the struggle with that kind of midfield press that the Dutch were presenting, and in turn, how the United States, that was a challenge that they just were unable to overcome. And anytime Shaw tried to even get a sniff of the ball, just wasn't there.
So Shaw was playing as the 9, and on the broadcast, Julie Foudy, the longtime U.S. women's national team player, 99er, she talked about how Hayes wanted Shaw to be in that 9 role to work on her pressing. So off the ball, how she was going to press, because Jaden Shaw is not a player like Lynn Williams or Sophia Smith that's going to stretch the U.S. and get in behind. And Hayes doesn't need Shaw to do that, right? You have other players, and putting Shaw in the 9 gives you something different, which is a very big positive. She's going to play a little bit more as a false 9, drop a little bit deeper, but she wanted to work on Shaw's pressing. We didn't see any press out of Jaden Shaw or any of the front line for the U.S. because the Netherlands had the ball in their attacking end the entire time. My notes that I've written down, 11 minutes, Netherlands shot, huge save by Alyssa Nader, Jill Roord wide open in the midfield. 13th minute, Netherlands shot, saved by Nair, is cross in, and Albert leaving Roord wide open. Again, 15th minute, another opportunity, and ultimately the goal comes after that opportunity in the 15th minute, and the Netherlands open the scoring 1-0. It's a corner kick, set piece opportunity, and the young 18-year-old defender, Verly Berman, gets the opening goal in this match for the Netherlands. But it was Jill Roord being wide open for 5 straight minutes of attack from the Netherlands in the midfield. She had a late run. She did a really good job of occupying the space between Coffey and Albert, almost playing as double sixes. And Jill Roord was there on the late run every single time. If it happens once, that's when you correct it. And Coffey and Albert talk to each other and say, pick up the runner, who's getting who's doing what. But to happen 4 times in a row to then lead to a corner kick that the goal is ultimately scored upon, it's not good, Christine. It's terrible, actually.
Yep. That about, I mean, that's still being kind, but yeah, terrible about hits the mark. That hits the mark. It's just, there didn't seem to be learning from any of the run up to play that the Netherlands had repeatedly tried. They weren't changing their tactics. They were just quicker and more decisive. Lynette Bernstein coming up on the one side, just like repeatedly getting these 1-2 balls off, playing in Roord. It just was, I don't know. Yeah, they were playing from a point on their back foot, which you never like to see the U.S. play like that, but also just like disorganized and frazzled and just, I don't know how you stray this far from a side that, granted, okay, A team, very many different changes, just won a gold medal, to like this, which made them look like they had never played together before.
Right, but the Netherlands didn't have their A team either, Christine.
I know, but like I would say they had more experience though.
I don't think that's a good enough
excuse. You know how bad.
I don't think it's an excuse at all. I think that they definitely knew, they understood the assignment and they executed. The U.S. showed up and it was like, hey, you're gonna do the thing. I'm gonna do the thing. Okay, let's do the thing. It just didn't seem like they had a plan or were able to enact it. And yes, the U.S. were working at a lot of disadvantages. Jaden was asked to do a lot of things that she's never done before, that she's not comfortable doing. Maybe it would have been better to have a few more stabilizers. I still think start Lynn. At least then she can organize the press a little bit better than some of the youth. I don't know.
You know how bad it is? This is how bad it was for the opening half hour of this game. Because we're going to build up to a goal here at some point in the first half, when it felt like that goal would never come. But it was so bad in the first half that we got an Emma Hayes special. We got an Emma Hayes tactical timeout. Alyssa Nair's best performance of her career. She's going out on a high, and that includes executing the Emma Hayes special of a tactical timeout. Just sit on down, get some treatment, and let's regroup. As soon as we saw that happen, every single player ran over to the sideline to get some sort of instruction from Emma Hayes. And I would argue that even before that, if you go look at some of the replay in the film, Emma Hayes is on that sideline yelling her coaching directions to Corbin Albert in the midfield. And so even prior to this, we get the tactical timeout here, and there's a regroup. And it's such a regroup that the center official needs to tell that team to wrap it up and get back on the field of play. But it ends up working out in their favor.
It does, because after that tactical timeout, there is really good moments from the U.S. and they look a little different. But in that first 30 minutes of play, it was 12 shots to the Netherlands to 1 to the United States. And after that goal went in at 15 minutes, Sandra, that is when the U.S. team needs to gather together on the field and talk about what is happening. That is when the moment needs to come, because after the goal went in for the Netherlands in the 15th minute, it easily could have been 3 or 4-0 to the Dutch. So I'm okay with the tactical timeout, right? Great acting, Alyssa Nair, way to go. That is part of the game. We see it all the time. But why isn't that happening immediately after the goal? Why aren't the captains on the field, the organizers? There may be young players, but there's still Lindsay Horan on the pitch. There's still Naomi Girma. There is still Alyssa Nair wearing the captain's armband on the pitch to bring this group in after that goal and say, what is happening? We have to mark up. If I'm Naomi Girma and I'm the center back and that goal goes in after Jill Rohr is open for 4 straight runs and pressures of attack, you better believe I am calling in my midfield to talk to them, yell at them, ask them to figure it out, because we don't have time for this. Ultimately, though, Emma Hayes gets the group to come over and talk to them. We don't know what she said, but she sure lit a fire under them, because there was a lot more pressing coming specifically from Lindsay Horan. It wasn't even Jaden Shaw up top. It was Lindsay Horan out of the midfield deciding that she was going to put the line of confrontation for the U.S. much higher up the pitch, force the Netherlands to build out of the back, and ultimately that draws a foul about 40 yards out. It was pretty far out.
Yeah.
Tierna Davidson steps up to take this set piece, and it is serviced into the box, a scrum of players, and it's an own goal ultimately by the Netherlands center back Berman. A first half break.
Were the defender goals just heartwarming to you in some way, just as a consolation?
I
know.
loved it.
I thought of you. I was like, wrong team, but there you go, Lisa.
I feel bad for the poor child, 18-year-old. I didn't even think she knew it went in. She kind of was like looking the other way, and it hit the side of her head, and the ball went in. Like, She's
going to be thinking about that in the shower, at breakfast, when she's laying in bed at night.
I'm gonna list that down. She gets her first goal for country, and then first goal for a second country.
Yo, that was really precise for an accidental header, though. Girl, go on. Thank you.
It was
go
really
off to Davidson. What a service. I love it.
What a service. It felt like that moment was coming, though, but only in the last 10 minutes of that first half for the U.S. And they were still frantic. They still didn't have possession, but they were at least trying to stop the momentum from the Netherlands on the other side.
Yeah.
Stop the bleeding.